It's all fun and games till someone gets shot.
The biggest down players on the earth, Hwoarang mains. I wonder why they don't feel that their character's powerful like this. It gotta be just a bunch of down players.
Everything is plus frame. Even when you whiff attacks, you recover at lightning speed.
I wish something that they did with this game is that they made recovery time pretty much across the board. There's a couple of exceptions all over the place, right? But pretty much across the board, I wish they would increase recovery time. I don't know by how many frames, but I just know that Law's nunchuck, Hwoarang's power crush, a lot of these moves recover just a little too fast. And even Yoshimitsu does it at times. You know, you could talk about poison breath if you want to, right?
Here, people will quickly discover the whiff recovery of this jab. This is left flamingo stance jab. It is +5 on block, right? +5 on block. Like most
That's crazy.
Hwoarang moves, it's just insanely plus on block.
For what?
If you actually try and launch punish Hwoarang here, you'll note that
That's crazy. You can't do that. You can't punish it.
if he recovers, it's the fastest recovery you're ever gonna see.
And then once you try to launch punish him, he's going to punish you for trying to punish him. This is why like having a buffed sidestep kind of doesn't matter in a lot of instances, because even when you do step insanely fast, like what reward do you get?
Try and launch with while setting 2. Do you see how quickly he recovers?
You know, quick recovery is something that they tested with Lydia and Kunimitsu. When those characters came out, I remember Fame Whisper made a video because everyone was saying Lydia's not powerful, Kunimitsu's not powerful. You know, the usual downplay. Everyone downplays, right? But people were downplaying those characters and talking about how they're not strong. And then I was talking about how they just recover so fast, right? That's what everyone was countering with, right? And then Frame Whisper made a video like literally showing how Lydia recovers like faster than any character in the game, right? And as you can see, what they were testing with Lydia, the final character added to Tekken 7, made its way into Tekken 8, and pretty much so many characters do that, have insanely fast recovery times. The developers were testing a lot of things at the end of Tekken 7, and a lot of them showed up, and they're, like I said, the things that was added to Tekken 7 at the end that made that game trash is everything like that makes Tekken 8 what it is. It's the foundations of Tekken 8, right? Lydia's garbage is the foundation of Tekken 8.
Grab would actually be a good option here to beat the power crush, but this jump kick goes under froze. It goes under froze. That's why step right block, because the kick, the launching kick will track me here. That's why we want to step right into a block. He'll be -14. Punish. But he will get away with the jab for free, because when I do my step right block, the jab recovers so fast.
Lydia is hot trash, yes.
But it's almost impossible to react to the jab in time to punish it. He can block.
These are the subtle things that I wonder if the developers will fix, and I probably don't think so, right? Because, like, obviously people are talking about heat, people are talking about damage, people are talking about frame data, but recovery time is something that I don't know. It's just so many different ways these characters are busted, and some of this stuff the developers probably will change. But, like, you talk about the recovery time of Hwoarang.
So this is right flamingo jab 2, that's also +5. But also, like, the whiff recovery, even on a 2 jab here, is like no joke. This is me just doing a jab, right? So you can imagine trying to down for 2 this. I received a lot of flack, actually, from Hwoarang mains from that video I did where I talked about how problematic and cancerous the character is now. I had a ton of Hwoarang mains actually contact me saying the video was garbage, the video was shit.
This is the problem with Tekken as well. It's like people who main these characters, anytime you try to speak truth about the character, they just attack you, right? Like the common example that I use, because it was a very real example, like we were talking about how the game sucked, and as soon as we use Heihachi as an example, all the Heihachis got angry. And it's like, You guys can't agree that the game is bad only when it's not about your character. If you really want this game to be honest, then you have to be willing to let your character die as well. You can't try to protect all your trash and then attack the others, because if we're all doing that, then we're all protecting our own characters, right? If I protect Yoshi, you protect Heihachi, you protect Hwoarang, you protect Lars, they protect Anna, like, then nothing's gonna change, right? So the only way is to just say, this game, because here's the thing, these characters existed in strong ways in the past, right? Hwoarang was doing decent in Tekken 7 and whatnot, so he doesn't need to have all of this stuff for the Hwoarang players to have fun, for them to do good, for him to be popular. It's just greed. It's just greed. And I like, I was talking to one person and they said selfish. Like, the players are selfish when they come to balance and the way that they want the game to be, you know? They would rather see the game die than their character get nerfed.
Like, he's far away, he wanna go in. Everything is very linear. So pro Hwoarangs, they go in and jab check to stay very safe, right? A bit like Heihachi mains. But then we gave him this, you know, which is like a perfect initiation attack. Can you show me a better initiation move?
When I look at these characters have these easy, like, to just jump in at you moves, like demon paws and stuff, I'm like, that's kind of crazy that you guys can just, like, attack from across the screen like that. Like, there was someone who said earlier, I can't remember if it was this stream or in the YouTube chat, but they were like, Yoshimitsu has long range. I can't think of a Yoshimitsu move that does what Hwoarang does here. Long range mid tracking move that gives pressure for free. The point is, it's just that these characters can get in and attack and do mix-ups without risking anything. It's so free.
Seeable, and he gets +6 left flamingo stamps to do whatever he wants. I'm not joking. I think you need hundreds of hours of labbing, hundreds of hours of playing against him to be able to fight that character. This is like wall to wall, if you do it properly, like 115 damage. From a 16 frame startup low, but it's the fact that this move is also allowed to be a mix-up on block, because on block, it is only -1 for Hwoarang. If you try and dick jab here, I can jump over that. If you try and do any legit punish, Flappy will interrupt you and launch you. If you think I'm going to Flappy, I can just stop here. Yet again, in a sequence of mind games, just mix you up.
This is what I said before, and I'll say it again. In Tekken 8, there's a couple of characters who represents problems with the game. One is Anna. Anna represents the problem with stance mix-ups and blocking and stuff like that, right? Chip damage. Hwoarang is a character who represents, like, not enough defensive capability. You talk about just the easiest offense ever, while also having very difficult ways to stop it. Also, you could talk about whiff recovery and stuff like that, right? Another character, and you guys are going to agree with this one, but I think Jun Kazama. I think Jun Kazama represents another part of this game that's very terrible, and that's like the abilities. That's like the mid-screen, pretty much full screen heat activators. You talk about huge balls of light that are plus, and you talk about these long strings that, you know, are mix-ups. But those three characters represents 3 different ways this game has gotten bad.
I made this video on Hwoarang, and a lot of Hwoarang mains reached out to me and gave me grief for making the video. They felt I was lying about the character, that I was being unnecessarily hard on him. And there is of course merit to saying that he's still somewhat of a specialist character. There is work that goes into this character. He's not Anna.
The reason why you won't see everyone pick up Hwoarang, like Arslan, Yi, and whatnot, is because he is a specialist, right? Same thing with Yoshimitsu. When Yoshimitsu was considered the best character in the game in Season 1, no one played him. And that's because these characters are specialists. It still takes a lot to get good with these characters. And it's like, why would you pick up a specialist character and sink all this time into like a Yoshi or a Hwoarang or a Zhao Yu or something like that, when you could just pick a Dragunov in Season 1, a Jin in Season 1. You could pick a Anna Nina. So this is the difference with Hwoarang. It's like he's really, really powerful, but he's a specialist. If you want to pick him up, it does take some commitment. It does take some time, but the reward is just insanely disproportional. There's a limit to how much a specialist character should be able to get away with. The same way with Kazuya and execution characters. Those guys are also time sinks, time drains, or however you say it as well. But just because just because there's an execution barrier doesn't mean they could break the game. For specialist characters, just because it's a specialist type of play style doesn't mean they could break the game, right? So that applies to Yoshi Hwoarang, and in execution it applies to Kazuya Brian Fury, right?